has gone through a turbulent time in the years since we all gathered together. And yet, if anything, this has made our belief in the power of cinematic storytelling all the more fervent. Great movies like the ones we honor tonight feel all the more precious and worth celebrating during a time of trouble. If there's one thing that everyone in this room has in common, it's a love for good movies. Yeah, let's applaud for good movies. We are all united in that love, and we at LAFCA feel an unflagging commitment to endorse, praise, and spread the word about these exceptional cinematic achievements. Tonight, we share an appreciation and affection for the films that you all have poured your creative talents and single-minded determination into. Making movies is always challenging, but making movies over the last few years has no doubt been more challenging than ever. And yet you persisted, you persevered, and you prevailed. So let's honor our winners tonight. Our joint Best Picture winners, Tar and Everything Everywhere All at Once. They may not be similar stylistically, but they share some critical DNA. Both are exhilarating experiences, unlike anything else we've seen, with indelible key performances that stay with us long after the credits roll. Thank you to the Daniels, to Quan, I knew I would get that wrong, and Stephanie Hsu for the inventive cinematic extravaganza that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And thank you to the magnificent Kate Blanchett and Nina Haas and Todd Field for everything you did to make Tar a dazzling and compelling study of fame and power. Nearly all this year's winners are here in the room, which is amazing in and of itself. With our Career Achievement honoree, the incomparable director Claire Denis, she jetted in from Paris just 2 days ago, and we are so grateful and happy that you're here. Thank you. Mille merci. Unfortunately, the hotel wouldn't allow us to bring in Io, the gentlest of donkeys with the melancholy eyes. I know, right? I'd love to have Io standing right here. But we do have the writer, director, and cinematographer in attendance. So welcome to Jerzy Skolomowski, Eva Piaskowska, and Michael Dymek. We are so happy to have the remarkable Dolly de Leon from Triangle of Sadness here tonight. You're definitely our captain. And what a thrill to have Bill Nighy join us here. Yes? Woo! Guillermo del Toro, you gave us... Yay. You gave us such a visually stunning and fresh take on Pinocchio, on such a classic tale. Thank you. And Laura Poitras, where are you? There you are. Ever an astute observer of human nature, thank you so much for all the beauty and the bloodshed. And cinema connects us across cultures in such a potent way, and movies can be a powerful ode to emotions. Nowhere is this more evident than in films like RRR. And Return to Seoul. and After Sun. It takes a village or a full theater to put this event together, and I want to especially thank my amazing LAFCA board members, the best team of boardlings anyone could ask for. Tim Grierson, Justin Chang, and Annlee Ellingson, you're the best. And also thank you to Lael Loewenstein and Katie Walsh for so generously helping to make this night happen. And a big thanks to Ryan Swen, whose wonderful short film highlighting the winners you're about to see. And we recognize Gwen Deglise for her years of curation and devotion to film at the helm of the American Cinematheque. There you are. Gwen kindly cut short her trip to France to make sure she was here, and we really appreciate that. We also want to honor Jafar Panahi, who tragically was sentenced to 6 years in prison for criticizing his native Iranian government. He suffered abuse while in prison, being tear-gassed, all amid one of the most dire times politically in Iran. Panahi has refused to let this silence him. In a statement recently, he said, "The history of Iranian cinema witnesses the constant and active presence of independent directors who have struggled to push back censorship and to ensure the survival of this art. While on this path, some were banned from making films, others were forced into exile or reduced to isolation, and yet the hope of creating again is a reason for existence. Tonight, we honor all of you who have chosen to create as your reason for existence." We are so fortunate to have you here. Thank you for coming. Congratulations to all our winners, and enjoy your meal, and we will soon, momentarily, be watching the video showcasing all of our winners' works, and then the awards will begin. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Annlee Ellingson, and I have the honor of presenting the first award of the evening, the LAFCA Ruth Batchelor Scholarship, generously supported by Rotten Tomatoes. Since 2017, the Los Angeles Film Critics Association has aimed to encourage and support aspiring film critics with a scholarship named for our founder, Ruth Batchelor. What started as an internal initiative to help increase the number of women in our field has grown into a partnership with Rotten Tomatoes that includes critics from underrepresented groups. We now present 2 scholarships each year, plus, and this is what I'm most excited about, our scholarship winners also get Fandango and Voodoo gift cards. Thanks so much, Rotten Tomatoes, for your ongoing support. After 6 years, our scholarship alums have grown into a not insubstantial club of alums. We're taking up 2 tables tonight. We invited all of our past scholarship winners to this year's awards in order to celebrate especially those who've won over the past couple of years when we were not able to hold in-person events. So please join me in congratulating Shalil Quintanilla Flores, Hain Shim, Samantha Doyle Jacobson, as Elizabeth Sains, as well as our veteran LAFCA scholarship alums, Kristen Huizar, Elsie Rengifo, and Ange Cruz. I just love seeing these folks. I'm so excited to get to see them in person. So now let's meet our 2022 winners. Penny Folger is a non-traditional student studying Pro Tools at Los Angeles City College. She's joined the writing team at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana, and in the new year she also will become a contributing writer for Perisphere, which is a blog for Trilon Cinema in Minneapolis. Penny's reviews deliver conversant and conversational re-examinations of classic cinema for contemporary audiences. From her cover letter. While my gender is not necessarily in the forefront of my mind with every endeavor I pursue, I define myself as a person with my own unique perspective who, yes, also happens to be a woman. However, I'm sure things like my age, gender, and life experiences color my own perspectives on an art form where older women in particular, their voices and their stories are historically often eliminated from view. And Justin Viloria is a California State University Long Beach art student, transferred from Long Beach City College, hoping to create stories and artworks that inspire those with similar aspirations. Enjoying cinema allows him to flex his passion for writing because there's nothing like deeply analyzing and writing about films. I think a few of us know something about that. The writings Justin shared with us are lively, engaged, and knowledgeable investigations into current and classic films. From his cover letter, when I sit down to watch a movie, I feel fervently engaged in its representations, constantly drawing connections within the story itself and to my own experiences, from cinematic experiments deeply submerged in their own meta to silly escapism. All of the films I've enjoyed in my life have impressed some form of identity in me, some consciously and unconsciously shaping who I am. I'm thrilled to present Penny and Justin with the 2022 LAFCA Ruth Bachelor Scholarship, and I'm happy to have Justin here with us tonight.
Sorry. Yeah, mostly I just want to do like a couple of shout outs. My parents, my mom who's in attendance with me today, and my sister who is out of state, who more or less has helped me know my head from my ass academically. And my film analysis instructor at Long Beach City College, Allison Hoffman, who helped direct me to this opportunity, said I should go for it, so I went for it. And yeah, that's all.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Manuel Banquet. This is actually my first LAFCA dinner. Thank you. It's my first LAFCA dinner and my first time presenting, so bear with me and my bundle of nerves. I'm realizing I should have asked my really devoted assistant to bring me a pill and a glass of water so I could really prep for singing the praises of Tar, character and film. Neither of which would be here without the delicious, delectable screenplay by Todd Field. Tar is a film about movement. It is about music and life's crescendos and about the crashes that in turn ensue. It follows a conductor as she slowly implodes into herself, which I think is an understatement. But the film can be chilling and exacting, alienating even, but there's a rueful, mad genius about its concentric construction. It moves with grace and menace. It circles its audience like prey. Dreamlike visions, clipped text messages, annoying two-tone tones haunt character and film alike. They punctuate a narrative about elisions and illusions. This is a character portrait that reveals in what it conceals. It is beguiling to watch and a thrill to read. Now, I could go on all night, but I'll take a page out of the film and remember that keeping time is no small thing, and I know we want to keep things moving along. So without further ado, please join me in celebrating Todd Field, the writer, the great man behind that great woman, Lydia Tar.
Thanks a lot. Wow. Let's see here. Oh boy. There it is. Okay. I promise this will be brief. I try to be brief. There we go. All right. Thank you very much. A few years ago, I got a call from Scott and Alexandra, Kiska and Peter with a question which was, do you want to make a film for us? And that question begged a very easy answer. There was no pitch, there was no map. Peter simply said, write whatever you want. That was a tremendous, strange privilege and a huge, huge sort of obligation to try to meet. The respect that someone pays like that to you is extremely rare, and I thank you for that, Peter. Many are the hands and on a screenplay, and on this film, the first were Serena, my wife, who's in the bathroom someplace right now, who, when it felt like the world was ending, created a sacred place to work on this material under the direst of circumstances, and whose patience and wise counsel has informed every film I've ever been involved with. Cate Blanchett. What can you say about Cate Blanchett that hasn't already been said? It's kind of an impossible task, but I find myself doing it more and more, and it's getting easier and easier. I'm still in complete awe of what she accomplished from the page. She took a screenplay and she used her magical hands and her head and her heart, and she conjured something well beyond any of our wildest dreams or hopes for this character. Cate literally willed Lydia Tarr to life. She breathed her into being, and she lifted her up for all of us to see. Supported by the formidable shoulders and hands and heart of her scene partner, the one and only Nina Haas. Here are two artists that any filmmaker in this room would give their fucking right arm to dance with, as they would with the hands of Hildur Gondadottir, our composer Bina Dagler, our costume designer, and Monica Willie, who's honored here tonight for her editing. Florian Hofmeister, my cinematographer, and many others, too many to mention here. But they animated this thing, and they made it move and sound like what it is. Many are the hands that are attached to many souls, many hearts. A script is a lifeless thing without them. So on their behalf, allow me to express our gratitude for the recognition of our collective efforts. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jean Oppenheimer. Have you ever wondered how cinematographers deal with difficult actors? By flattering them, cajoling them, threatening them? Or does it just take patience, waiting them out? In the case of the Polish film EO, cinematographer Michał Dymek decided that bribery might be the most fruitful course of action. It could have been an expensive proposition, but fortunately for Michał, the star of the film was content with bushels of apples and carrots. When it comes to acting style, donkeys are known for their extremely improvisational skills. If they don't feel like walking in a certain direction, they simply won't. And no amount of reasoning with them or pleading with them will get them to change their minds. Dymek is very diplomatic when he describes the film's star as unpredictable. But with EO's soft fur, white muzzle, and soulful eyes, EO is irresistible. EO is an intimate film, but what it says is epic. It reveals the beauty and brutality of nature, as well as man's inhumanity to mankind and to beasts. Speaking for myself, gazing into those melancholy eyes, I would have given EO everything I have and more. It is a great honor for me to present Michał Dymek with the Los Angeles Film Critics Association 2022 Award for Best Cinematography.
Wow. Good evening. I won't pretend I'm going to read everything from the paper. Yeah. So it's really honor for me receiving this award. I'm sincerely grateful. Thank you very much, LA Film Critics. And thank you also Sideshow and Janus Films. It's truly unbelievable that such a simple story of our donkey EO could move and steal so many people's heart all around the world. And I consider myself a very lucky person that was given the opportunity to work with such a great and talented people as Jerzy, Ewa, Agnieszka Glińska, our editor, and Mietek Koncewicz, our production designer, and Paweł Mikietin, our composer. It was so rewarding to work together to give EO a voice and push the limits of impossible to create a poetic and beautiful visual world of our story. I would like to thank Jerzy for sharing his unique and youthful approach to filmmaking, which he brought to set every day. Working alongside him was an unforgettable experience. He let me take creative risk with the camera. To get an opportunity like this as my career is beginning, working on a film like EO and getting to take such a creative risk, the bar has been set for the rest of my career. Lastly, shooting this film would not be possible without my amazing crew, who helped me capture everything on camera sensor. Standing here tonight, I would love to send my biggest gratitude to Kokos, Sternik, Przemek, Maciek, Leonardo, Luca, and many others. Words cannot describe how thankful I am for each one of you. Thank you again for this award.
Hello, I'm Chuck Wilson, and it's my happy duty tonight to present a special citation to Gwen Deglise, the longtime head programmer of the American Cinematheque at the Egyptian. Gwen has also been the manager of the Aero Theater in Santa Monica since it opened in 2005, and for the last 2 years, she's been programming the Cinematheque at the Los Feliz 3. I'm sure most everyone in this room knows those theaters well. Maybe you've screened one of your films there or participated in a Q&A, or maybe you've just gone as a fan, as a movie lover. At the Cinematheque, there's a rich bounty of films playing every night of the week for devoted, energized audiences, and for that, we have Gwen to thank, along with her colleagues. Gwen started out as a volunteer at the Cinematheque when she was 26 years old and pretty much just off the plane from France. And now, a quarter century later, she's leaving the Cinematheque to forge a new professional path. But before she heads off to blaze those new trails, all of her friends here at LAFCA and all her many other friends in this room want to officially express our gratitude to Gwen for all that she's done to celebrate and elevate the art of cinema in Los Angeles. She's made our film world so much richer. Please join me in welcoming Gwen Deglise.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Claudia, Peter, team, Justin, Mark, everyone at LAFCA. I'm deeply moved. For me, it's a great honor to be recognized by you, to be acknowledged by you. We all share the same passion for cinema, and to be among you, it's really a great honor. I, of course, want to thank the American Cinematheque. What an incredible journey it was. It was my privilege to serve its mission, to serve the film community, and to experience your trust, the trust of the film industry. The team at the American Cinematheque is amazing, the work they do. Now I'm not here anymore, but it's truly remarkable. It is an institution to be supported, to be recognized, to go to the movies at. I love them, and they really are doing an amazing work. I stepped down in September just to spend time with my parents, to care for them. And I'm taking also the time to imagine what will be my next journey. And I look forward to inventing with you, to working with you, and to collaborate to see how we can serve the community in new ways. So I'm deeply moved. I thank you. And I also want to thank all the filmmakers, the storytellers in the room in all form and shapes. And thank you for making us feel, think, dream, and see the world differently each time. Thank you so much.
I brought a visual aid for this one. Just a bit of misdirection while I call up the speech. All right. Hey guys, I'm Lucien Thompson. I am a writer for Check's Notes, AV Club / Film Superhero Hype Films Gone Wild and Synagogues. So as you can imagine, I've written literally thousands of words about Avatar: The Way of Water. And yet, somehow, my wife Julia managed to sum it up more succinctly in 19 words after we got out of the screening. She said, I wanted to pet the fishies, but then I realized I couldn't pet the fishies and they aren't real. Now, we can talk at length about all the design work that goes into creating a whole new biome in an alien ecosystem, and then inventing the human technology it would take to harvest and tame such a place, or attempt to. But when we go to a movie like Avatar, what we're looking for is a sense of wonder, a belief that fantasy can be reality. And if even for a moment we believe we can just pet the alien fishies, I think that's the best testament to the work that Dylan Cole and Ben Procter have done. It's imaginative, it's immersive, and it's tactile. And it connects with people because, as invented as this world is, it feels real, it feels sincere, and there's nothing fishy about that, except this guy. So congratulations, Dylan and Ben, come on up. Best production design.
Great intro. I got it? All right. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, we got to do this on paper. What an honor it is to receive this amazing recognition from the critics right here in the heart of the film business, our beloved Los Angeles. So thank you so much to LAFCA. This really means a lot. Let's hear it for the home team. It is gratifying to see the recognition of a film that is unique and, demands to be seen in the theaters. And just thank you so much for coming to see the film. And let's just celebrate the theatrical movie-going experience.
Before we go on, we want to stop and acknowledge another design effort which is being honored here this year, namely Jason Kisvarde's incredible work on Everything Everywhere All at Once. Jason, are you here? Is he here? No, he's not. All right, we were hoping. Anyway, a spectacular movie with such a unique look and such a unique vibe, and our hats are off to him.
We also want to put first things first and thank our families for their support during our many years on the Avatar sequels, and the clock is still ticking as we crank on Avatar 3. I want to especially thank my amazing wife, August, and who is also expecting our little guy, our newest addition to the family, due in March.
And my dear wife, Alana, who's here tonight, has been incredibly supportive through all these years of a bad commute from Studio City to Manhattan Beach. You can imagine the late hours plus the bad commute. She's eaten alone a lot, but anyway, thank you for putting up with that, honey. I love you. All right, I'm next. Okay. It took a lot of people and a lot of passion to bring the world of Avatar: The Way of Water to life. This amazing LAFCA award tells us that it was all worth it. We receive it on behalf of our set decorator, Vanessa Cole, who's in New Zealand, and all the art directors, concept artists, set designers, prop masters, virtual production specialists, and master craftspeople who put so much of themselves into the film. This includes people working right here in LA, as well as an extensive team of people working in New Zealand, where we filmed the live-action components of all the Avatar movies. Their creativity, commitment, and attention to detail are what makes this film's world feel special, and we hope feels real.
And no discussion of the design of Avatar would be complete without Jim Cameron, who's always been our steadfast guide into Pandora, leading us with not only his visionary imagination, but also philosophy of design that connects moviegoers to the story with powerful visual metaphors and deep roots in the real world around us. We are extremely grateful that he and John Landau gave us and our team the opportunity to help paint pictures on the biggest cinematic canvas around in service to a powerful story. Thank you all so much.
We really appreciate it. Thank you.
This is amazing. Thank you.
I'm Lael Loewenstein, and I'm here to present the award to Dolly de Leon for Triangle of Sadness. Now, if you haven't seen Triangle of Sadness, you might wonder, what is Triangle of Sadness? I'll let you know, and this is true. If you Google Triangle of Sadness, one of the first things to come up is, how do I find the sadness of a triangle? And I don't know if that's for the very few math and philosophy majors that might want to figure that out. Anyway. Triangle of Sadness is about the events that happen on a luxury cruise when a bunch of billionaires and influencers voyage together, encounter what I can only delicately refer to as rough seas, and end up marooned on a desert island. I've seen the film 4 times now, and while I could have done without the barfing, I could not have done without Dolly de Leon. And neither could anyone else, as it turns out, because she is the indispensable member to the survival of the people on the island. She catches the fish, she cooks the fish, she's the captain, as you saw in that incredible clip. So it is a great pleasure to present our LAFCA Award for Best Supporting Performance to the very deserving Dolly de Leon.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Lael. Thank you, LAFCA. Sorry. Can you see me? Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine that I would be accepted in a room like this, filled with artists who I respect and admire. This is everything, especially being a minority within a minority group. So thank you so much, LAFCA. Thank you for celebrating inclusion and representation by welcoming me with open arms. I've been an actor in the Philippines for 33 years, and I've played nameless characters and sometimes lineless characters. And I've thought of quitting so many times, but that's changed now. Thanks to you, LAFCA. So I also want to thank our writer and director, Ruben Ostlund, who, because of him, thank you, Ruben, for choosing me wherever you are. Thank you for choosing me to lend a voice to the quadruple threat that is Abigail, a middle-aged Asian immigrant woman. And to Neon and our producers, Eric Hemmendorf and Philippe Bobert, for opening the doors for Filipinos like me who only dream of being represented in the international stage. It truly, truly takes a village, and it was an entire village of actors also who helped me through all this. Harris, Vicky, Jean-Christophe, Zlatko, Sunyi, Henrik, Iris, and Shelby, my dear friend, my angel. I share this with you. And also, I cannot do this without thanking the 4 very important people in my life who have tolerated my intermittent bouts of insanity in my journey as an actor. My 4 children, Lucia, Ella, Ines, and Pepe, and of course my brother who's here. Thank you, Ricky. And my brother-in-law, Scott, thank you so much. You have given me so much, and this is really also for every actor, Filipino or otherwise, who has trained, studied, worked, failed, succeeded, fell, and stood up again. This is for you. I share this with all of you. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm still Leonard Maltin. And it is my great pleasure to be presenting a supporting performance award. We degendered our awards this year. So Dolly's award is the equivalent of Ke Huy Quan's award, which I'm about to present. Hollywood loves a good comeback story, and it makes for good copy. It makes people feel good, get a warm feeling inside when you know that a career has been revived or reborn, and that would be enough. And we're telling the story of Ke Huy Quan. But it's only part of the story, because the other part of the story is how good he is in this movie. So this award is not what they sometimes call a sentimental favorite. You get that term at Oscar time sometimes. Sentiment has nothing to do with it. He's just so good in this exceptional role and an exceptional movie. And congratulations to the Daniels for thinking of him. and for casting him. And lucky us, we got to watch him give a wonderful performance. Ke-hee Quan.
Wow, thank you, thank you. First of all, it's incredible. I cannot believe that this award is being presented to me by the great Mr. Leonard Maltin. What an honor this is. In fact, I don't think you know this, but I was actually one of your students. True story. In the late 1990s, when I was studying film in USC, I attended one of your classes. Your lecture was in a theater called the Norris Theater. And I remember being completely in awe of you. Your knowledge of cinema history is just astounding. I learned so much from you. So thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. First of all, thank you so much to the Los Angeles Film Critics Association. I have called LA my home for more than 40 years. And every time I think of LA, I think of my parents and how LA became my home, how of all of the places that we could have landed, we landed in the city of Los Angeles. My parents made the ultimate sacrifice to bring our entire family here. And oftentimes, they struggle to help all of us find our way. My dad is no longer with us, but I know he is very proud because somehow I have managed to find my way back to acting. My mother is 84 years old now, and she is beaming with pride, watching me back up on the screen again. I am so happy to see her happy. And honestly, this award belongs to them. I am so grateful to them. Once again, thank you so much to the Los Angeles Film Critics Association. And lastly, I would like to thank Daniel Shiner, Dan Quan, and our producer, Jonathan Wong. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Ryan Swen, and I'm a member of the Douglas Edwards Experimental Film and Video Committee. And it is my great honor to present the award for the Experimental Film Award to De Humani Corporis Fabrica by Verena Perivel and Lucien Castaing-Taylor. When I was editing the reel together, it was sort of difficult for me to choose a clip from it simply because of the bulk of the film, which is essentially composed of largely of surgery footage taken across Parisian hospitals during a course of 5 years. There are many sights, many strange things to see. There is a prostate being handled by a bunch of mechanical robot arms. There is a tube shoved inside of a penis. There is an emergency C-section. But what Perivel and Castaing-Taylor are able to provide is this completely different point of view. It is one that's shaped with a certain amount of certainly of craft, but also of a humanism. There is this great attention being paid to the body, to the way that essentially the miracle that the human body is, that all of our bodies are. And it was very clear for us that this was an exceptional film, and I'm very happy to present the award. Unfortunately, Lucien and Verena couldn't be in They couldn't attend the ceremony, but we do have a video from Lucien. So please join me in watching the video. Thank you.
Rick and I are both unbelievably chuffed, honored, flattered, moved to get the news about this prize. Unfortunately, she's sick right now, but it's really very moving to us both. We hadn't realized to what extent the film would be as divisive as it is, and how taboo it remains to look at one's body, the object, the subject, the thing with which one we have the most intimate relationship in our entire lives. We're born before the grave. Our bodies are destined to putrefy, to decompose. The only thing we know in life is that we're going to die. And this film is meant as a hymn to life, but also an homage to the medics and the paramedics who try to keep us alive and to repair us when our life is in jeopardy or is compromised in some way. And it's all very well to go and clap in the streets during pandemics like COVID, but if one isn't actually willing to take a look at what doctors do and what surgeons do in order to keep us going, then I feel there's a kind of double standard. In any case, we meant this as a eulogy to the body and an homage to the doctors as they experiment in the laboratories that are our bodies in an effort to keep us going and them going. And of course, this also exacts an enormous toll on them. Doctors are, by turns, divinities and devils, and no less than military folks in many ways. They too suffer from PTSD. And I think that the film ends with a scene that shows how they have to come to terms with the enormous transgressions they visit on other people's bodies. In any case, many, many thanks, and we're both deeply moved. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. And I am here to present the award for music score to, what else? RRR. Maybe you were lucky enough to see RRR in a movie theater surrounded by people just dancing with joy. Maybe you were one of those people in the movie theater dancing with joy. Maybe you wanted to dance, but longed for someone to, properly instruct you how to do it. And I'm here to tell you, I am not that person. Not even remotely close, but I can take a moment to speak about M.M. Keeravani's irresistible score, the music that raised moviegoers out of their seats and burrowed into their hearts. We all know Natu Natu, but the rest of the music in RRR is equally excellent. It provides the movie with much of its emotional core and the way it signals the story of the friendship and connection, the love, and sometimes the conflict between its two friends and freedom fighters. The music is passionate. The music is electrifying. The music and the way it makes us feel deeply and care about the characters and what we're seeing on the screen, it's why we go to the movies. And so it's my great honor to present this year's Los Angeles Film Critics Award for Score and Music to M.M. Keeravani and RRR.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Good evening, and it's a great honor for me to receive this prestigious award from LAFCA. And I take this opportunity to thank just 3 most important people in my life who enriched my musical career, because I just want to actually thank many people, but with my recent experience, I just want to limit that to 3. Firstly, it's my father, Mr. K. Shivadatta, who taught music to me and who has been my mentor all these 60 years. Thank you very much, Father, for being there for me always. Secondly, my brother and the director of this movie, RRR, and many more films which I composed music for him, for believing in me and for giving me all the freedom I asked for and appreciating my music like anything. Thank you, Rajamouli. And number 3, as I progress in my career composing score for many movies, after many years and after complete many movies, I just learned a lesson from a stalwart when I happened to watch the movie Jaws. I was expecting whenever the shark was approaching, whenever there is a danger indication, I was expecting an intricate, complicated melody with a heavy orchestration, with a very rich orchestration indicating the danger. But instead, I was shocked to listen to the theme of the danger to be very simple, very humble and simple, with no orchestration at all, with a single cello that happens to be Thank you very much, John Williams, sir, for teaching me the lesson of simplicity and humbleness in composing scores for films and being my inspiration all these years and forever. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Grierson, and it is my great pleasure and honor tonight to give our award for Best Film Editing to the incomparable After Sun. Memories are a way we interpret the world, constantly sifting through faded mental snapshots of what once was in order to reconcile who we've become. But our brains are a very flawed storage facility, housing those stray images and foggy impressions that constitute our entire existence. Memory is all we have, and it's rarely enough. Movies are memories, and few have been as piercing as writer-director Charlotte Wells's After Sun. Tonight, we honor her frequent collaborator who helped shape this beautiful meditation, editor Blair McClendon. The movie is about a young girl named Sophie, who's on vacation with her father, but the film is constructed to be Sophie's recollection years later as an adult. She is trying to solve the mystery of who her dad was, although After Sun doesn't contain typical static flashbacks. Rather, they seem to be floating, morphing inside Sophie's head, a rough approximation of past events filtered through emotion and distance. McClendon's technique may be hard to articulate, but it's very, very easy to grasp. We are watching on screen what it means to try to remember. We experience this vacation in fragments. Crucial scenes are intermixed with seemingly random interludes that are representative of the strange things our brains hold on to. Weaving together Sophie's past and present, carefully molding sequences so that they feel ephemeral, but also incredibly resonant, McClendon achieves, with his dreamlike editing, something I've never seen before. A movie that is itself as fragile and elliptical as memory. When our mind returns to After Sun, this extraordinary film comes back to us in emotionally charged snippets. A shot of a brilliant blue sky, an image of a rug, the sad smile of a father who's doing his best. Every moment tells its own story. Every moment becomes its own treasure. Memory is imperfect, but After Sun is flawless. Please join me in congratulating our Best Film Editing winner, Claire McClendon.
I live in New York now, but I grew up just down the coast in San Diego, where we have a healthy chip on our shoulder about Los Angeles. Mostly because you took one of our basketball teams and a football team too. So I want to say thank you to the Los Angeles Film Critics Association for attempting to soften that chip. But old habits die hard, so I'll probably hold on to it. I don't want to thank too many people by name, because I think the more people you name, the more pointed it seems if you forgot to name somebody. But I want to thank, first and foremost, my assistant editor, Ligia, who, as I think any of the editors in the room know, the person who actually did everything. And I want to thank, of course, our old friend, Greg, who shot this and did beautiful work on it. And first and foremost, I want to thank Charlie, who I've had the pleasure to know for too long. And I want to thank Charlie, I think, because she's somebody I respect immensely as an artist and as a friend, and I think who in the edit room agrees with me and knows quite well that sometimes the best choice you can make is not to cut, but to keep watching. And I think also because this was a film where we were attempting to find out if you committed to a feeling, if you could actually take it to the end of that, even if it took a while to get people to go along with it. And it was possible that we would reach the end of that and have failed. But this was one where I think the two of us were willing to fail, at least on those terms, because of what we were trying to do. And that was an exciting process, a terrifying process before it came out, since it was possible that this wouldn't happen, and instead everyone would just be like, no, you failed. But I've been excited to see that instead it did resonate. And I'm excited for however long this ride keeps going. I hope to keep failing and keep sometimes getting it right with you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Carlos Aguilar, and I'm here to present the award for Best Animation. One of the greatest artists of our time, Guillermo del Toro. He often speaks in praise of disobedience, a virtue that allows us to defy what others expect from us and remain true to our imperfections. And what will be more disobedient in our current media landscape than spending more than 15 years making a unique stop-motion take on a classic fable that makes us question the very notion of what it means to be human and the beauty in the brevity of life. I don't think I'll soon forget the words of Sebastian J. Cricket when he says, lo que sucede, sucede, y luego nos vamos. What happens, happens, and then we're gone. Alongside co-director Marek Gustafsson, a veteran of more than 30 years in stop motion, as well as their teams in Portland, London, and Guadalajara, Guillermo del Toro carved a tactile, profound version of Pinocchio that demonstrates to anyone who still couldn't grasp it yet that animation is cinema. And if we can agree that the art of making movies resembles magic, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is one of his greatest incantations. Please help me welcome and congratulate Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson for this award.
Cool. It's black. Thank you so much. I have to start by saying I'm going to be eternally grateful to this man who chose me to walk beside him on this passion project of his. He plucked me from obscurity, and I'm sure he'll put me back there when this is done. In any case, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge our animators, who are so important in stop motion. There's an incredibly intimate relationship between the animator and the puppet and the camera. It's unique in animation because one animator goes in and they perform through the puppet and they breathe life into it, and they are our actors in a sense. We had beautiful voice work, fantastic, including from Kate. Who Guillermo cast as a monkey, I might add. But they will never get enough credit for the work that they've done on this film. They brought, and we all experienced what I think Geppetto called a terrible, terrible joy. And here he is.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. My career started about 30 years ago. And just so we put it in perspective, half of it has been in pursuit of this movie. More than 15 years. I started thinking about it when I was a very young kid. I saw this movie with my mother. It was the second or third movie I saw. And I thought it captured, I saw the movie after I saw Pinocchio by Walt Disney. And I saw this movie very clearly. I thought, I want to do one where he's disobedient. I want to do one where he doesn't turn into a real boy and Geppetto turns into a real father. And the journey couldn't have started without the partners that are here in the room, Shadow Machine, the Henson Company, Mark, but there's other partners that are not here in the room, and I would like to take a moment to acknowledge them. Grace Grimley, who broke the language of the entire film by designing the perfect Pinocchio. Matthew Robbins, who back then, many, many years ago, we started to crack the code of the story, and Patrick McHale, who co-wrote the final form of the screenplay with me. I think that the movies that take the longest to get made, the movies that everybody passes on, and this is very hard because for you watching our movies, and we're in this together, but you see them, you see the ones that are done, but not the ones that don't get made. I have 22 movies on a drawer somewhere that will never happen probably. I know that I'm going to make only a few more, and I know I'm never going to get to those. And the ones that get made that are really worth it are the ones that everybody passes on. Every single person passed on Pan's Labyrinth, except one. And the same happened with Pinocchio. Everybody passed on it. But I think that there are two good things that happen in my career. You get the movie, you make the movie that you wanted, or you don't make the movie, but it's the movie you wanted. And saying no is very powerful, and saying yes one time changes the life of everybody. In this movie, everything that makes it unique is what made it dangerous, what made people say, but is it for kids? And I would say no, but kids can watch it. And I wanted a movie that could stand next to Pan's Labyrinth and Devil's Backbone. And I thought we could change the type of performance and the tone of performance, and instead of motion, create emotion, and to have the characters become real actors through a very, very dangerous amount of demanding from animators a commitment of 100% of the time. And we couldn't have done it with any of our partners. I think that we get broken in the first 7 years of our life, and we spend the rest of our life trying to get back together. I personally been a groupie. I've been in love with death since I was 7. And through that, it's a very Mexican little affair. Through that, I found life. Because I think the 3 big questions that I had as a kid, as a very young child, I was 77 when I was 7. I'm much younger now. But I started to wonder about love, loss, and life. And through death, I found the answer, that it was vital to me. It was that we don't escape, any of us, the metronome of the universe. And in between 2 clicks lies our life. We will all be gone, and as the cricket says, what happens, happens, and then we're gone. But in the meantime, we are together. And I guarantee you, this couldn't arrive at a better moment, and it's taken in that spirit. You telling us that we're together, that you love what we're doing, and it comes at the right moment. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Biandria July, and I am honored to be here to present the award for New Generation to Davy Shu and Park Ji-min for Return to Seoul. As a group, there was so much enthusiasm for this film, and for me personally, it was definitely my favorite movie from last year. And this year's New Generation winners are an astounding duo. They've broken through with an awe-inspiring yet fervently down-to-earth story about a restless young woman's search for self, from the outside in. It's a transcontinental epic that manages to be both super specific about Freddie's experience as a French-Korean adoptee, and in making us question the very notion of familial longing, it's also very universal. How does someone know that she's truly at home after all? Return to Seoul also validates the wide range of experiences of Korean adoptees whose stories have only begun to be told with this depth of reflection. And to quote my LAFCA colleague Carlos Aguilar, who just presented the last award, in the LA Times, he wrote, "It is perhaps the only film this year in which every single scene and every line of dialogue feel absolutely dispensable." And I agree. Shu and Park have both said the film is a strong collaboration between them in their respective roles as writer, director, and lead actress, and that's why we're delighted to give this award to both of them. So on behalf of LAFCA, it's my honor to present this New Generation Award to Davy Shu and Park Ji-min. Félicitations.
Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Jimin Park, who played in the movie Return to Seoul. Yeah, I should have prepared a speech. I regret it, yeah, but I'm going to try to speak, because English is not my first language, so I'm going to speak slowly, so please be patient. And yeah, so at first, thank you, LAFCA for this prize, for this award, sorry. I really want to thank you because you help us to put light on a story which is really important story, not only for Korea, because Freddie, the main character, is Korean born, French adoptee. And it's not only like individual story we are talking about. I think it's a collective story for all around the world. So thank you, LAFCA, to help us to put a light on that story, an important story. And also thank you to put another spotlight to a character, a main character who is Asian, female character like this, because I think it is really important. I think I am not a professional actress. I am a visual artist. It's my first time acting in a movie, and this movie is mainly a French production movie, and unfortunately I see that in French industry, but I think in European industry, film industry, there is no Asian female or even male character, and I'm so proud that we can put a light on a character like that. Thank you so much. For me, it was the main reason that I accepted, because I never dreamt about like being an actress or whatever. So it was the main reason why I accepted to play in that movie. I also want to thank all our team. Yeah, very simple. Yeah, all of our team, the technical team, the production team, the distribution team, and also because they are here, I want to thank Michał and Tom from Sony Pictures Classics. They are here. They are very generous people and very funny also, and humor is really important. No, yeah, I think so. Yeah, so thank you. And also I really want to thank all the actors and actresses in the movie, who are not all professional actors. They helped me so much to play Freddy. As I said before, I'm not a professional actress, so I don't have any techniques so without their help, their generosity that they gave me, I think I couldn't have to be able to play Freddy. So thank you very much. And it's almost done, so yeah. And yeah, I forgot to thank you, Davy. Yeah, Davy Shaw, who is the filmmaker of the movie. It was a very hard, not always funny work with Davy, but like the collaboration was quite hard because we had such an argument, and we did quite a deconstruction work together, and it was often painful, but I'm so proud that the work we have done together, not only him and me, but with all the team. And yeah, I want to thank everybody, and I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You did well. Sorry, two people, so double speeches. I hope I cannot ruin the party. Feels very special to be here facing so many great artists who I look up to. I think I was in Cambodia waking up with the news where I live, and I couldn't believe it because I wouldn't expect that such honor will go to an American film, to a pretty unknown French-Cambodian director with a pretty unknown French-Korean actress. So thank you so much, LAFCA, for this honor, for the spotlight you put on us. It's very, very special. I want to thank Michael Barker, Tom Bernard, and Dylan Liner from Sony Pictures Classic. It's been an extraordinary journey. since Cannes. Thank you so much. And I'm learning every day that we spend together, so that's so cool. I want to thank our publicist also, Block, Corinne Brott, the team at 42 West, but also Ryan Werner and his team. Thank you so much for everything. They are not here, but I really also want to thank the people behind the film, the producers of the film, Charlotte Vincent and Katia Kazak, all the partners and all the co-producers, the fantastic cast, it's Ogwan Lok, Kim Son-young, Gu Ka-han, Louis Dodolangsin, Johan Zimmer, and all the actors, and the very fantastic crew that was in the film. There is heads of department that have been working pretty long time together, and it's a very special feeling to feel that we grow together. I want to thank Laure Badur. She's actually the person who inspired the character of Freddy. I want to thank her for her generosity of giving her story to put on screen, and I also want to thank all the Korean adoptees we have met and who share the stories with me. I really hope that we were faithful to their experiences. Lastly, I want to thank my partner, Todd Kanita, for her support. And if that camera is still recording as an archive, I want to say hi to my 3 months baby boy. Hi, City, it's Daddy. The film is about feeling of never feeling home and universal longing for belonging. And I believe that these feelings would have never been able to be transmitted if it was not for the incredible performance of the woman standing next to me, Park Jimin. Actually, I remember the words of Claire Denis when you watched the film. You had this word that really that I kept in mind. You said that you were struck by the way that Jimin was resisting to the camera and resisting to the film. And that was some kind of an eye-opening comment to me, and I'm so grateful that we met, and I'm so grateful as much as challenging it was sometimes, the collaboration and the creation of the character of Freddy. I'm so grateful that you did resist, so thank you so much for existing, and sorry for taking so much time. Thank you, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Justin Chang, and thank you. I could not be more thrilled that this year we are presenting the Career Achievement Award to a truly great, great filmmaker, and that is Claire Denis. You know, every year the Los Angeles Film Critics Association tries to honor not just a venerable artist, because, you know, there are a lot of those, but an artist who has not been so recognized already by every other organization under the sun. And for most of her extraordinary 5-decade career, from her days working with Jacques Rivette, Wim Wenders, and Jim Jarmusch, to her arrival as one of the world's most revered filmmakers, Claire Denis has somehow gone mysteriously under-recognized by international film festivals, by industry organizations, and yes, by film critics groups like this one. But then, this past year, something interesting happened. Things started to change. Denis was named Best Director at the Berlinale for Both Sides of the Blade. She won the Grand Prix at Cannes for Stars at Noon. And just last month, Beau Travail, her intoxicating 1999 masterpiece, placed at number 7 in the Sight and Sound Critics Poll of the greatest films of all time. So we're seeing something of a Denisance, if you will, and I know you will. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I think it's interesting that it's taken this long. Could it be that Claire Denis' films are simply too bold, too wild, too unsettling, too sexy, too unsettlingly sexy, too unbeholden to the conservative aesthetics and the liberal pieties that govern most art house cinema? You could call Denis' movies ahead of their time, although frankly, I think a movie as radical in its reinvention of film language as L'intrus, The Intruder, would be ahead of anyone's time. It might be truer to say simply that Denis' films defy classification. She has an extraordinarily nimble command of genre, from the blood-soaked cannibal horror of Trouble Every Day, to the sublime romantic comedy of Let the Sunshine In, to the fatalistic noir of Bastards. And yet you wouldn't think to call her necessarily a genre filmmaker. She has, as a French woman raised in Africa, she has a bone-deep understanding of the ravages of European colonialism and the richness and the complexity of the African diaspora. But you would never describe a Claire Denis film as an issues-driven movie. Again and again, she has shown in her work that she has no interest in explaining or reducing the complexities of the world or the people who pass in front of her camera. So what is a Claire Denis film? It is first and foremost an experience of overpowering sensuality and tactility, dreamlike in its construction, but concrete in its textures. It can be beautiful and it can be baffling. It is full of restless and hypnotic images that envelop you like smoke one moment and can slash you like a blade the next. A Denis movie can be as dank and sweaty as the inside of an intergalactic sex chamber in High Life, or it can be as warm and inviting as a Parisian bar on a rainy night, just like tonight, in 35 shots of rum. Sometimes a Claire Denis film can feel like a reunion with a bunch of old friends, a chance to hear the latest shuddering soundscape from Tinder Sticks, or to return to the beautiful faces of actors she's worked with again and again, Alex Descas, Béatrice Dalle, Nicolas Duvauchel, Grégoire Collin, and the late, great Michel Subour. It may be a strange thing to say about a filmmaker as good as capturing feelings of dislocation, who so profoundly understands the feeling of not belonging to the world around you. But for those of us who have been watching and loving Claire Denis' films for decades and can't wait to see what she has in store next, the world of Claire Denis feels an awful lot like home. And now, it is my great honor to introduce a very special guest who will be presenting our Career Achievement Award, a brilliant filmmaker who counts Denis among his most cherished influences. Please join me in welcoming the producer of our Best Editing winner, After Sun, and the winner of our 2016 Best Director Prize for Moonlight, Mr. Barry Jenkins.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm a little under the weather. It's not that thing. Don't worry. It's not that thing. I've taken 8 tests this week. It's not that thing. But my voice might be a little tricky tonight. Thank you, Justin, for the awesome introduction. I figured it was going to be that way, so I'm not going to talk about Claire's work and all the movies and those things, and I'm not going to pronounce French names half as well as this dude did, just letting y'all know. So when I saw that Claire Denis was getting the Career Achievement Award, I turned to somebody, I said, they're gonna fucking call me and ask me if I'll present this award. I just knew it. 24 hours went by and nobody called. And I was like, oh shit, maybe they won. And then 36 hours went by and they called me. Now, the reason for this is because when High Life came out in 2017, despite being an artsy award-winning filmmaker, I'm also a stan. I made this fucking sweatshirt. You can't see it from back there. It's got Claire Denis' face on it, and it says Legends Only. So it was pretty clear that I was the person. I was the person to present this award. All right, and now I'll be serious. The first time I discovered Claire's work was on the Wellspring DVD for Russian Ark. This was a period of cinematic discovery in my life. I'd seen Russian Ark at the Telluride Film Festival, and when it released on DVD, I was like, I gotta have it. Back then, I was voracious. I wanted to expand my horizons. And so when the DVD came on, I went and grabbed the DVD. When it came on, the first page was all these trailers. You had to choose to skip past the trailers. Me being just like a rat or a termite, I wanted to devour everything. I watched every single trailer. And it was this trailer for this movie that I thought was like Before Sunset. This is like a French Richard Linklater. And the trailer starts out, there's this Shostakovich, see, I'm not as good as him, symphony that they're playing is this big orchestral piece. It's kind of like a Hitchcockian thriller. This man and this woman are in a car. You're like, what the hell is happening? And then that just ends suddenly, and Valérie Le Mercier, did I get that one right? I tried, man. Valérie Le Mercier is just gliding down a sidewalk, and Claire is tracking with her. Paris is empty, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And she runs right by camera, and there's this step printing, almost like the end of the 400 Blows, and I thought, I have got to see this shit. So I went to Barnes & Noble, because back then that's where you went for Criterion DVDs, for Sight and Sound magazine. I went to Barnes & Noble, and I said, I have to have this movie, Friday Night by Claire Denis. Again, I'd never heard of this woman. So, based on the strength of that trailer, I took my ass down to Barnes & Noble, and the DVD arrived, and I watched it. And for the first half hour or so, I hadn't an inkling what to make of what I was seeing. It was just beyond me. By the time I finished watching the film, and it is just an absolutely gorgeous film, I put on the commentary to listen to the woman behind these images. And on that DVD, Claire, is you and Kent Jones, and you guys are having a conversation. It's like free jazz. You're just talking through the movie. And as they're riffing through, and I'm telling you, I listened to it again. This is 20 years I've had this DVD. 20 years I've had it. I've had this thing for 20 years, because that was 2003, and Claire, my life hasn't been the same since. It really has not been. And so I continued on. And with a few hiccups, I distinctly remember being perplexed at Barnes & Noble when I showed up, and the guy handed me a DVD, and it had Juliette Binoche on the cover, Juliette Binoche on the cover, and Johnny Depp. And no shade to Mr. Hallstrom, he's made some really wonderful films, but a Claire Denis joint, that Chocolat was not. And so I then corrected it and got the actual Chocolat. I had to also get a region-free DVD player off eBay, but I got that. And I was surprised to find that this Chocolat centered the lives and souls of black folk. Again, all I knew at this point is that Claire Denis is a white woman from Paris who has made Friday Night, a film about two 45-year-old white people stranded by a transit strike in Paris. In fact, working my way in order through Claire's filmography, I found that the next two features by this filmmaker, Claire Denis, centered in some ways the lives and souls of black folk. Chocolat, which is stunning, of course, we showed it at Telluride 2 years ago, being a semi-autobiographical recounting of Miss Denis' childhood growing up in Cameroon on the continent of Africa, it made these films and their empathetic quality make sense. However, their subjects were not the thing that grabbed me about Miss Denis' work. It was, as Justin so eloquently put it, the way she used concrete images to build what I just found to be, even in my 21, 22-year-old brain, sublime metaphors that expanded for me what I thought was possible, creating images about human beings. And in particular, especially with these three films, the first three films in your filmography, the political act of rendering black skin in a way that is empathetic, that is beautiful, that is humane. Isaac de Banquet is one of the most beautiful human beings that's ever graced the earth. And we showed Chocolat on film, thanks to the Harvard Film Preservation Society. Shout out to them. We showed it on film, a 35mm print, and it is stunning, stunning. And I sat there and I watched this thing and I said, I have to do better. I have to go farther. The world I come from is not the world of this room. It could not be farther removed from this room, and yet Claire is here. Of course she is. And when I listened to her speak about her work on this DVD in my pocket, both then and now, but especially then, this room and the rooms like it no longer felt inaccessible. Claire's thoughtfulness in explaining not just her work, but her approach to creating, her approach to life, and how that is inseparable from her approach to creating. When I see and hear Claire Denis, I find an invitation where, whether through my own insecurities or just the reality of social conditioning, everything in my life to that point had taught me to expect barriers. So thank you for that, my dear. Now, Claire, as I've come to know her, is an uncommonly generous artist. Welcoming to filmmakers like myself, like Matty Diop, the Safdie brothers. We all get together, drink wine, and talk about Miss Claire Denis. All of us at one time or another have found ourselves blessed with her graciousness. I mean, would I thank Claire for allowing me the use of a piece of score from Friday Night that I had more or less pirated and used without a hint of any clearances in my first feature, Medicine for Melancholy, a micro-budget feature film. When I told Claire this, she said simply, "You can have any song from me. Me, I own nothing. I hate the idea." That may be a true feeling on your part, Claire, but I have to tell you, you absolutely own a piece of my heart. There have been few things in my life as moving, as meaningful to me as finding your work. It has taught me, it has driven me to strive to be both a better artist and a better human being. It has even taught me at times to interrogate and question my own perception of what that better means, of relinquishing these notions of best and better, and simply working toward a point where I can access true curiosity, true intuition, true observance that captures true feeling. Thank you for that. I'm just going to keep thanking you the whole rest of the night. Now, I was asked to come here to present the Career Achievement Award to Claire, which is fine in so much as it's a bit brutalist way of acknowledging that you've been consistently making dope shit, going all the way back to Chocolat to the present. This is fine, and I will certainly present you this Career Achievement Award, but I also, for the sake of cultural authenticity, wanted to frame this moment within the prism of my culture, in African-American vernacular English. To give someone a Career Achievement Award is to refer to giving them their flowers. So, along with this Career Achievement Award bestowed upon you by the Los Angeles Film Critics Association, I would also like to give you, Claire, these flowers to my favorite filmmaker, my inspiration, my heart, Claire Denis.
Wow. Don't worry, I have not prepared a long text. I have prepared nothing. I was a little bit afraid to prepare too much. The few things I could say is, since a festival in Mexico, I had lost tracks of Barry, and I kept calling Ryan, how can I reach Barry Jenkins, because he left the festival and I could not say how much I liked the film he showed, The Gaze. It was a film you made for a museum, if I understood well. So it was the first time it was edited and screened in a theater. And in the theater, being seated and under those gaze of those actors you were working with, made me realize something that is very important in making films. Very often I am asked the silly question, what is a female gaze? What is a gaze? What is a gaze, a gaze, a gaze? And even it became difficult for me to like the word gaze because of that. You know, I thought it's like a trick, as if making film was to catch something. And in your film, Barry, the gaze was, those gaze were toward us, asking a question to the audience. Could you lift your head and meet my gaze, in a way? Something I remember when I was first time in the United States working with Jim Jarmusch. We were working in a jail in New Orleans, and as I had to move around the jail because I was Jim assistant, bringing actors and props, I remember the guard who was following me seriously keep telling me, please, no eye contact, no eye contact. And I realized he was considering that if I could meet eye contact with prisoners, something wrong would happen, you know? And of course, I was searching for making eye contact, you know? But your film really made me in peace with the word gaze, in peace and in question too. And I would like also to say, of course, thank you for this prize. And I would like to say a career for me, I think I called Ryan, I was afraid to come because I never thought I had a career. One film, and then another film, and then another film. For me, it's always the last one. And I don't care too much about recognition. The only thing I care for is to find money for the next movie. And no, it's not a joke. It's a serious work, you know, to be able to be produced. But a career, it's something, it has a shape. It's like a rectangle or a square. It's something that doesn't go with this sort of strange emotion that is making film without being confident. I think making film is really it's not dangerous, but it's every day, every second, every morning, I can fail. I know that. And thanks to the people who trust me, the crew, the producer, the distributor, and most of all, the very final crew, the 5 or 6 person on the set with me, in the contact, and more than contact, in that connection with actress and actors. There is nothing more moving in making movie than meeting people who accept to enter the logic of a script, the logic of a vision, knowing that this vision is uncertain, because nothing is certain in making film. There is always a mystery of what's going to happen. And the last film I made, Stars at Noon, I must say that Margaret Qualley wait maybe 3 years to be with us, and the people in Panama were also completely trusting, and I mean all the other Joe, of course, and Danny, and the Panamanian actor. But I would like to say a lot about Ryan here, Werner, and David, who helped me a lot through that Stars at Noon, you know, that me, a French person, trying to adapt this American novel. Such a great writer. I thought I was crazy, and some people believe in it, and it was really a great moment to share. And then the last thing I will say is to Charlotte and a film, After Sun, that really is still in me very strongly. I think about it so often. And I thank you, Charlotte, for how brave you are, you know, how talented. It's not a word I like, but you believe. You are a believer. You make things, and your editor next to you, seated next to you, of course. And also I would like to make a big salute to Davishu, because we met in Phnom Penh in Cambodia a few years ago, and I admire him because not only he's making film, but he's also producing young director in Phnom Penh. He was an activist of filmmaking, you know, and that also I admire you for that energy and the incredible talent of you both. Because it's a film of, yeah, it's true, you resist. It's a resisting film, I agree, and I like it. Thank you very much.
Hello there. I'm Christy Lemire from RogerEbert.com. Hello, hi. As Claudia mentioned off the top, a lot of films have been shot here at the Biltmore over the years, including the 1984 Tom Hanks classic, Bachelor Party, which features a donkey. Thanks, Bibbs. Not unlike our winner for Best Film Not in a Foreign Language, EO. Now, these might seem like extremely different movies, and they certainly are from an artistic perspective, but both reflect the human capacity for carelessness and cruelty, especially when it comes to such a gentle creature as EO. The film from Polish master Jerzy Skolimowski is, of course, a deeply profound experience, a stunningly gorgeous odyssey with countless images that will take your breath away. The work of our Best Cinematography winner, Michał Dymek. It's hypnotic and heartbreaking, horrifying, and sometimes even hilarious. And while Robert Bresson's Au Hasard Balthazar was an initial inspiration for them here, Skolimowski and his co-writer, Eva Piaskowska, took that central idea and created something singular and shattering all their own. And they're all here, and I'm so thrilled that they are, because we can tell them in person that they have made one of the most essential films of the past year. So join me in celebrating, congratulating the legend, Jerzy Skolimowski.
I'm sorry, but I prepared about 5 sentences only. So here they are. This award has a very special place in my heart because I live in this town for many years. And once I was calling it my home. And now it is rather strange to be coming back when, to me, the city is really beginning to feel like the city of angels. I was privileged to call some extraordinary people I met here my friends, Bob Rafelson, Dennis Hopper, Michael Cimino, phenomenal characters, profound filmmakers, remarkable storytellers. So to be back in place I loved living in for so many years and to receive an award from the Los Angeles film critics has really touched me. Thank you, LAFCA. Some of you may know me from my unprofessional acting career, which peaked with the unique pleasure of getting my ass kicked by Scarlett Johansson in The Adventures. Meeting the aliens in Mars Attacks was also something I never imagined. But I have been making movies since the 1960s and had a so-called career and experiences I never could have predicted when I graduated film school. And with EO, a strange, daring, wild sort of film, a film made out of love for animals and nature. The reception in the United States and the embrace from this room I never expected. And having you honor my collaborator, like Michał Dymek, who is in the early stages of what is sure to be a long career, it's a joy for me. I am truly grateful. Thank you.
I'm variety film critic Peter de Bruges, here to present Best Director to Todd Field. In Tar, Todd Field takes us into a rarefied realm, the upper echelon of orchestra conductors, and gives us a feel for what that world looks like. For people who know more about classical music than I do, and than I ever will, and who are celebrated at the New Yorker Festival, discussed on NPR, it's an elite space, it's an intimidating space, and Cate Blanchett's Lydia Tarr is a daunting figure within it. This is all by design. Tonight, we've already honored Todd Field for his screenwriting talents, well-deserved. It's been 16 years since he released a film, and something has clearly crystallized within him during that time. This film feels confident, assured, singular. Tar never talks down to its audience. It's a puzzle film that requires a level of active participation from us. Like many of you, I've watched Tar several times, and each viewing brings additional clues that were deliberately hidden there by its director. Open your eyes and you'll see a license plate go by that says, "Listen." Or in the back of the room, you might catch a lurking, haunting character. Open your ears, and there's a whole other realm of possibility to consider. Screams that might actually be sirens, noises that only Lydia hears, notes transmitted, if her beloved Shipibo Kanibo are to be believed, via spirit connection. Tar is an infinitely rich film. It engages with the pandemic, with the so-called cancel culture, and the Me Too movement. It's about control and the abuse of power. Its director has stitched all of this together in such a precise, enticingly open to interpretation way that it inspires debate and rewards repeat viewing. Todd Field, we've missed you all these years. We're delighted you're back. And I'm so proud to present to you LAFCA's Best Director Prize.
Testing, okay. We're sitting over there by the speaker. I just want to make sure that, wow, there's so many incredible filmmakers in this room, and any of you could and should be standing up here, shoulder to shoulder. I wish we could all be standing up here. We should be standing up here. It's been, as you say, it's been 16 years since I made a film. The film that I made before this didn't really have a studio that wanted to release it. I remember distinctly having a moment with Guillermo del Toro. And Guillermo came up to me and he gave me a big bear hug and he said, "Man, your film really kicked my ass," you know? And that's really kind of kept me going for about 16 years, you know. It's like, and I mean that sincerely. I think it's really important that we tell each other that our films kicked each other's asses, you know. 21 years ago, I stood in front of this body for a different film, for my first film. But that night, David Lynch was getting the Best Director Prize, and I'm sure many of you were here, and you probably remember that speech. And if you don't, I'll tell you, I'll just recount it precisely right now. So David got up, and he said, "I want to thank the Los Angeles Film Critics Association for this Best Director Prize. Because of this, my film, Mulholland Drive, has gotten a lot of buzz. And I want you to know what that sounds like." And he reached into his pocket and he pulled out a small micro tape recorder and he put it up to the mic and it just went bzzz. Pretty great, right? Before Tar, I'd spent 16 years, Serena and I, occupied our time sort of raising a surprise child. And I've kept the lights on pretty much just directing commercials. And then when the pandemic arrived, and with the affliction, also known as Lydia Tarr, there were these two contaminating forces. The first changed the world for all of us, and the second just mine, then Kate's. And everyone's involved with the making of this film in the middle of that pandemic. And that's what directing is. We all know that, making order out of chaos, and it was chaotic. And collaborating with like-minded people who possess the most exquisite of skills. And somehow help you, side by side, create a world, a life, to plunge the depths of your imagination and to create a soul that ultimately is our film. People who work grueling hours and ponder what to others might be ridiculous details. Also that other people might sit in a theater and ponder over them or laugh or cry or feel something together. I love making films. I truly love making films, but like I said, it had been an awful long time for me, and I was really, really fucking scared. I didn't know if I knew what the fuck I was doing. I was really, really frightened. And my first day on the set, we played a scene, and I watched Kate, and I watched Nina, and I thought, my God, look at what they can do. I think I'll be okay. It was like these two incredible people unlocking a door and letting me out of a cage. And I'm so grateful to both of you for that. I really am. And grateful for the immense privilege to be a director and to be able to collaborate with both of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Walsh. Oh, thank you. I am so happy to just be here all in the same room with you tonight, and I just wanted to say how happy I am to just share the love and energy as we celebrate all of our winners tonight. I have the honor of presenting the Best Documentary Prize to Laura Poitras and her remarkable radical film, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. This film is a true collaboration between artists, not only between Laura and the subject and producer of the film, the artist and activist Nan Goldin, but also the incredible editorial team who have taken a lifetime and a career of work and shaped it into this incredible story of Nan's work. Her life and her artwork are inextricably linked to her activism from the AIDS crisis to the opioid crisis. And All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is a profoundly moving portrait of what she has done. It's a reminder that radical honesty can be an act of radical self-love, and that speaking truth to power and to money is one of the most effective political and personal acts a person can undertake. So please join me in celebrating Laura Poitras and her film, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed.
Challenges here at this podium. I just want to start by commenting on Claire coming up here and saying, I was afraid to prepare too much. And then she proceeded to own the room. and I was sitting there and I was thinking, like, wait, what happened? I can all of a sudden hear? Like, you know, though I've been sitting here for 2 hours, I can't hear anything. All of a sudden I can hear everything. And I could just also feel her magic, and what does she do? And it just made me reflect on what it means to be present and how much of what we do is about being emotionally present and being in the moment. So, okay, which I'm not usually good at these types of situations. I'm really thankful to the Los Angeles Film Critics Association. I was describing tonight to a friend what I was doing, and I said, it's going to be a long night. There'll be a few celebrities, but there'll be a lot of film nerds. And I said, so I'm really looking forward to it, to meeting the film nerds. Thank you for what you do. It actually makes what we do possible. These kinds of events are great, and the praise, and thank you, Katie. But also, when you're tough on us, is also really good. It keeps us honest. So thank you for the kind words and the less kind ones. Nan also would like to extend her thanks to everyone here. The hippie free school that she attended when she was a teenager, it didn't have things like classes. Like there were no classes. and you see in the film that somehow Polaroid donates a camera, so she picks up a camera and she starts taking pictures of her good friend, David Armstrong. But the other thing that they did, because there were no classes, is they'd go into Boston and they would go to the rep houses and watch movies. And they would go to the Orson Welles and the Brattle and all the rep houses that we no longer really have in this country. And that's her education and her passion for cinema. So this award, she's a film nerd among you. And so this really means a lot to her, and it really means a lot to me. I need to thank Neon, participant in HBO, for the support of filmmakers and also the support of films that are shown in cinemas, like Nan grew up in. So I'm so grateful. I'm also so proud to be in the room. I mean, again, to try and be present of the sort of genius that is in this room and the filmmaking talent. I mean, I look around the table. I had the pleasure of sitting next to Dolly, the captain. She's actually very nice. I can't accept this honor without calling for the release of Jafar Panahi and every incarcerated filmmaker around the world. We need to do some. We just need to say that every time that we're have a microphone. And then this is where I was, I'm the documentary filmmaker, things get a little dark. Over 500,000 people have died in this country alone due to the overdose crisis that was fueled by OxyContin, that was created by the Sackler families, that was sold as non-addictive, and it's killed 500,000 people. If a society doesn't hold people accountable for those kinds of crimes, we're destined to repeat them. So there is still time for the Justice Department to prosecute Richard Sackler, and they really have to, not just because he is accountable for so much destruction and death in this country, but because if we don't, we're inviting it to happen again. And finally, I just have to, dedicate this to Nan. I mean, Nan gives everything to her artwork. She gave everything to this film. For her, the message that she wants to deliver is to destigmatize the things that people are struggling with, destigmatize people who are struggling with addiction, and stigmatize people around boardrooms who are profiting off people's pain. So thank you.
She's much taller than I am. Hi, everybody. I'm Ella Taylor, and thank you. I'm here to lionize Bill Nighy, which has made me the envy of most of my women friends, who plied me with love notes to put into his soup. I hope I'm not embarrassing him, but I'm about to embarrass him further because it would be remiss of me not to share with you a snippet of a conversation that I had with a friend back in England this week, where I was crowing that I drew the wonderful Bill Nighy straw. And there was a pause, and then she said, "Ah, yes," she said, "the thinking woman's bit of crumpet." However, I really have embarrassed him now. However, I'm here to discuss his performance and to present him with an award for lead performance, of which we have 2 tonight. And my students, when I spoke to them about him, they said, "Oh yeah, it was that guy who played the aging rocker in Love Actually, the mad guy. He was really funny." And I said, yes, he was. He was just wonderful in that movie. But I thought that I tried to introduce him to a whole bunch of movies where he's really at his finest, where he speaks volumes of emotion while barely moving a muscle. He did that in many, many films on television. I haven't actually seen, he's done scads of theater, and I haven't actually seen him do that because I've lived here for a long time. But living is really the apotheosis of a lifetime of work, very, very quiet work. And in Living, which is, as most of you know, an adaptation of Akira Kurosawa's Ishiguro, I hope I pronounced that right. He brings a kind of transcendent quiet to the role of a man who on the face of it is very boring indeed. He's a cog in a bureaucratic wheel of British government, and I know this probably ages me, but I worked in offices like that in my college vacation. I actually had to assemble pennies into piles of 12 in the days of shillings before they decimalized it, and I had to do this for 3 months, which almost destroyed me. But this man he comes through a cancer diagnosis, and I will digress here slightly by saying that cancer movies tend to make critics lift their hands in horror and run away, largely because they often descend into honking great cliches, where the hero finally wakes up and said, "I have wasted my life. I never climbed Kilimanjaro. I'm going to do that now and die in scenic splendor." This is something very different. It is a man whose terminal diagnosis does bring him to a certain kind of awakening. But his face doesn't change very much, and neither does his speech. It's a lengthy, quiet, minute-by-minute process that's absolutely enthralling. And he finally looks for and finds a way to spend the short time that he has left in a way that can be useful to others. Now, this is not a sentimental education, because in fact, in terms of the institution, the moribund post-war British government institutions, he has no effect whatsoever, even though they all say what an example he's been in actually getting something done and not sticking with the bureaucracy. But he does this with such quiet by the time that we get to the last scene. He really is quite incandescent. And he lifts the film from out of sentiment and into Kurosawa. So we of the Los Angeles Film Critics are very delighted to present Bill Nighy with the best lead performance.
I've always considered myself to be more of the drinking woman's crumpet. After a few drinks, you know what I'm saying. I once read an article, because if you get to maybe 50, which I vaguely remember, and you're still in one piece, it's possible that someone will describe you as the thinking woman's crumpet, and there is a journal. It's usually a female journalist, but no, and it's a difficult question to answer without giving the impression that maybe you think you are. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky thing. And I was let off the hook by Mr. Christopher Walken because I read an article in the New York Times where an English female journalist said to Mr. Walken, "Do you realize that back in my country you're considered to be the thinking woman's crumpet?" And it said in the paper that Mr. Walken paused for a very long time, which is one of my favorite things about Christopher Walken. And then he said, "Is that some kind of bagel?" So the next time, when I went to New York, and the next time the lady from the New York New York Times said, the thinking, and I said, well, actually, I'm with Christopher Walken. So it got me off the hook. And then I met Christopher Walken for the first time, and it was going quite well. So I said, listen, you got me off the hook about that, the thinking woman's crumpet thing. He said, did I? I said, yeah. I said, you said, is that some kind of bagel? He said, did I say that? I said, yeah. He said, that's pretty good, isn't it? I said, sure. I'm sort of humbled. I've been sitting there listening to serious and wonderful people, and I am moved to be here, and sincerely to be mentioned in the same breath as the people who've been celebrated here tonight. And that's not, I'm not trying to be cute, it's for real. And I have, and to be associated in any way with Cate Blanchett is you have my attention. And I did have the pleasure of working with Cate some years ago, and there was a moment on the set which I've never forgotten. We were standing waiting as usual, and I was drinking from a water bottle, and Cate said to me, "Can I have a go of your water?" And I was surprised. I hesitated because not everybody is comfortable sharing a water bottle, and she reassured me, and she turned to me and she said, "It's okay, I don't mind your backwash." Which is a remark, as you can understand, I'm sure, that has stayed with me. Unfortunately, it hadn't, when I reminded of her of it earlier, it hadn't stayed with Cate. But I've been told that she's had, like other things on her mind, Anyway, I am properly touched and moved to be standing here and to be representative of this film and to be speaking on behalf of the great Stephen Woolley, who produced this film, one of the great English film producers, and Oliver Hermanus, who brilliantly directed this film, and Jamie Ramsey, who sensationally photographed it. And I was surrounded by assassins. And it's a film that was #1 across the nation back in the so-called United Kingdom, and it gives me great and deep pleasure, and I thank you.
Good evening, I'm Robert Kohler with CinemaScope magazine. About 10 years ago, Todd Field met Cate Blanchett when he was working on a screenplay with Joan Didion. And right then he knew, as he told me recently, that she would be an absolutely extraordinary collaborator and somebody that he was desperate to work with, if he had the chance. So when he sat down to start writing Tar, Todd knew the role could only be performed by Cate Blanchett. It was always Cate, Todd said. He wrote her name on a Post-it note and stuck it on his writing desk and said hello to it every morning. Everyone who has seen Tar can see why Todd could imagine no one else in this astounding role. The most unforgettable characters in fiction are the ones who take you on a journey in which, at the end, you consider where she is now and you think back on where she was when the story began. And you sit back, astonished at the transformation. Think Huckleberry Finn. Think King Lear. Lydia Tarr, who by the way has her own Twitter account. In the hands of Cate, she begins as a protean figure at the peak of high culture, the head of the Berlin Philharmonic. She's an EGOT for God's sake, but because she is also her own worst enemy, and in fact, a deeply troubled human being. Lydia Tarr's Icarus-like fall is a complex tragedy which only a protean actor of Cate Blanchett's range and strength could possibly convey. It's our good fortune that Todd said hello to his Post-it note. And it's our chance to say hello to Cate. The Los Angeles Film Critics is proud to present the Best Lead Performance Award to Cate Blanchett.
Thank you, LAFCA. I was traveling through Egypt with a friend when I was 18, and we decided that if you turned the sound down and said the word faluka, you looked incredibly sexy, but I think LAFCA might be better. But thank you very much. It's sort of been some strange, wonderful fever dream in this room tonight, listening to everyone talking about cinema and their passion for it and their reasons for getting into it in the first place. People have spoken so eloquently, many of whom speaking in English, not their first language. English is my first language, but often extemporaneously. It sounds like my fourth. So I've written down a few words, superstitious as I am, and I've also mistimed my bathroom break, so I really, really need to pee. So it's going to be brief and fast. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge what a glorious year of female performances it's been. Guzlahe Malanda from Saint-Omer blew my socks off. Michelle Yeoh, also blew my socks off and my underpants and everything else. Tang Wei, Anne Hathaway, Jamie Lee Curtis, Daniel Deadwyler, what a supreme portrait of grief. She is that movie. Viola Davis, Kerry Condon, Andrea Riseborough, Rooney, Jessie, Claire, the entire cast of Women Talking, and of course, Neil Hoss and Sophie Kaur and Noémie Merlan, the three divine actors that I had the great good fortune to work with. There's so many, many powerful, memorable performances of such range and ambition. I feel very lucky to be counted amongst you, and also so lucky to have been married to Bill Nighy once. Some of the happiest weeks of my life. Now I don't, Crumpet, he's a cracker. Now at the age, I don't want to bore you, but at the age of 25, when I first made my film, which in actress years, dog years, is very ancient, I think it was 25. I've got early onset dementia, so I can't remember, but I certainly never expected to be here, still here. I thought, given the odds, at that time, I had a 5-year window as an actress, such as it was for actresses, such as it was for Australian actresses. I wasn't even from here. I barely spoke the language. And no one really knew what to do with me. I was either too much or I was too little. So I had to embark upon this process of working out what I wanted to do and what I was interested in and what I could do. Actually, to be frank, with the opportunities that were available to me. I was picking up small roles that were discarded by others, and I sort of turned them over in the interest of investigation with no particular destination in mind. And I realized very quickly that what I was interested in was a quality of conversation. And I made a lot of missteps, and I annoyed a lot of people. I'm sure I missed a lot of opportunities, and I didn't listen along the way. But here I am. I still am, for better or for worse, and I apologize to those who are bored shitless with my body of work, and I'm flawed, but I'm still here. That sounds like a song, a cue song. Anyway, we're not going to do that. And I'm attempting to make work, knowing pretty much next to nothing. And each and every time that I start work, I have to look into the void, appreciating that I know nothing. But something I do know, perhaps the only thing I do know, is that I love a challenge, and focusing on the task in front of me, often a monumental task when you work with Todd Field, being elevated by the people around me, giving me the courage to find out how to tackle a role. I guess that's how I start. Not to bring the project to me, but I guess in the attempt to rise to it with no particular destination in mind. And perhaps that's why Tar has been such a special project and why it's been such a homecoming, because it really is about that process, the often thorny or process. Sorry, I'm in America. Do you say process or process? Anyway, the often thorny process of making something and being confronted by who you are, by what you value, and your all too real limitations. And thank you, Todd. I've got my reading glasses on. Thank you, Todd, for this incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to risk falling flat on my face, to risk everything. I know you did that as a filmmaker. I know what it costs you, what it would cost you in this particular one. And thank you for your belief in me and for the offer, frankly. I've learned so very much from you, with your incredible heart, your mind, your impeccable judgment, your acute quality of listening, your attention to detail, and your deep, deep, deep respect, not only for the people that you work with, but for your audience. And Tar, in the hands of the likes of Todd Field, a master filmmaker and a collaborator extraordinaire, he presented me with a tsunami of a challenge. Now, it was a tsunami of technical demands, yada, yada, whatever, sure, but more importantly, it was a tsunami of big, confronting, exposing questions that demanded an open heart and an open mind. And it was an electrifying and game-changing creative conversation, and one that Todd and I and Nina and Noemi and Sophie and Florian, our DP, and Margaret Britta-Rossner, our designer, Hilda, Monica Willi, our amazing editor, and our sound designer, Deb Adair, hoped and dreamed could be extended to an audience, the people that we ultimately wanted to be in conversation and in dialogue with. And there are so few places left to us to have nuanced, robust, and often gloriously uncomfortable discussions where these discussions can take place. And our cinema houses are these very special places where this still can happen. We have to defend them because they are fast disappearing. Anyway, thank you to the critics, the LA film critics, for not shutting this conversation down, but for allowing it to be borne aloft and to grow and grow. And the longer that you, all of you, and your readers were able to sit with this film, this very special film. And I hope and trust Tar is a film that will reverberate long beyond the arbitrary horse race of what's called awards season. I'm wearing my diamonds. Because it is still, this Tar is still reverberating with me, for sure. And thank you to Focus for setting sail with us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening. I'm Amy Nicholson, and I just want to say that tonight you all look really wonderful and attractive in this multiverse where Daniels have won the Best Picture prize at the 2022 LAFCA Awards. I have to say, being a bit of a verse jumper, tonight is far better than the multiverse where Daniels won Best Iguana at the 2022 Reptile Super Show. This is about on par to the multiverse where Daniels won Best Pudding at the Great British Bake Off. I will keep this short because if Everything Everywhere All at Once has taught me anything, it's that we are all here to talk to each other, listen to each other, share stories, share vape pens outside of laundromats. All of that is much easier to do if I'm not here at this podium standing in your way. So to Daniel, Quan, and Daniel Scheinhardt, and to everybody in the Everything Everywhere crew, I want to say, while you are receiving this award at this moment in this year, I believe that there is a greater award to follow, and I am not talking about golden statuettes. I'm talking about the fact that there are future filmmakers who will point to your film as the boundary-pushing, audience intelligence-trusting movie that hooked them on what movies could do. And so, on behalf of all of us critics here in 2023, on behalf of whoever will be at this podium in 2033, 2053, 2123, if we're that lucky, I just want to say thank you to your team for launching us into this bolder cinematic multiverse. Now come and get your awards.
I loved that. This is our spectacular producer, Jonathan Wong.
What a lovely evening. They deemed me to start first because they knew you'd suffer through my boredom and be really excited for them. So it's funny how awards season really turns filmmakers, the entire film industry, film fans, it turns us all into jocks. It's really funny how that happens. And really what it is we arbitrarily root for our teams and with such fervor and blind support that we forget how ridiculous we look when we are shirtless, twirling our movie's towel over our head. So tonight, it's a thrill to be in a tie. Okay, I should take off my shirt? Yeah, I'll do that. So tonight, it's a thrill to be in a tie with our brothers and sisters in arms and to celebrate this honor with them. But not only them, RRR, After Sun, Pinocchio, all these beautiful films. Our movies are apples and oranges and shouldn't be compared. So thank you to LAFCA for recognizing all of our original films. And thank you to TAR, Todd, Kate, Nina, everyone here, for being the apple to our orange. Thank you to A24 for your undying support of our weird little movie, but also for supporting indie filmmaking and original storytelling at large. We love you so much, and we're having so much fun drinking from this very intense fire hose that we're drinking from. Daniels.
I wasn't sure what to talk about, and I was just thinking about when we were trying to get this movie made, we were crunching numbers, and the producers and everybody said we could save a lot of money if we shot the movie in Vancouver. And I've never been. I hear it's great. I went earlier this year. It was great. But at the time, I had never been. I ended up putting my foot down and being like, I wrote this movie in LA about LA so that my friends who live in LA could make this movie. And they believed in us and let us make it that way, and it paid off. We saved money, even though it didn't look like it was going to happen on paper, because a team of incredible friends of ours who we've been working with for like 10 or 12 years came out and just worked their asses off so that this like extremely expensive movie could get made for a lot less than they deserved. So I'm grateful to this city. And to all of you guys who live here, and to A24 for believing in us when we said like, no, let us shoot it in LA. We shot it down the street on Broadway and in Chinatown and in Simi Valley. So I love this city. Yeah.
They told us they're running ahead of schedule, so I can take as long as I want. It's not often that I get to talk to a bunch of critics, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for this wild year of writing about our movie. I have read all of it. It's been really good for my mental health. But seriously, whether it was positive or negative, I really appreciate you taking the time and the attention and the energy to put your words onto paper and describe what this film made you feel, especially when some of you decided to take it as an opportunity to get personal. I really appreciate it. When I read those kind of things, it feels like you're writing a letter to me and we are pen pals. And so I just want to thank all of you who saw themselves in this film and felt compelled to write about that kind of personal experience. So to the Asian American writers out there, the children of immigrants, the queer critics and journalists, the middle-aged mothers, the millennial daughters, the beta males, the kung fu aficionados, all the people who wrote about the thing that made this film so special to them. I love seeing that perspective, and it's really hard not to get emotional about it. Just knowing that it was a response to our very personal film that we thought maybe like 10 people would watch. So it's honestly really exciting. I also want to thank all the critics who took it as an opportunity to write about mental health, anxiety, depression. We are in a mental health crisis. We probably have been in one since the medieval ages. But it's very, to me, I take every opportunity to talk about mental health and to destigmatize that conversation as really important. So thank you for pointing that out and bringing that into the conversation. I want to thank the couple of critics who actually wrote about their process of getting diagnosed with ADHD, partially due to watching our film. That is incredible. As someone who got diagnosed while writing this movie, I know how hard your life was before this, and I'm rooting for you. I'm so excited that you have tools now to hopefully make your life better. And it's also just a wonderful, like, humbling reminder that these stories actually can, you know, even if you can't save the world or change the world, you can save one person's life or two people's life, and that is already more than enough. And lastly, I want to thank the one critic who decided that our film was a metaphor for menopause. I loved reading your piece, and even though I'll never know what that experience is like, I'm so grateful that you could still see yourself in our movie. Thank you so much, everyone. All the critics, thank you so much. Watching our film spark these conversations this year has been one of the best rides of our life. This is why we make movies. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Annlee Ellingson, back to present the final award of the evening, our other Best Picture winner, Tar, because LAFCA loves a tie. We meet the film's namesake Maestro in the same place that her rendition of Gustav Mahler's Symphony No. 5 begins, backstage. Ready for them? She's asked. Yes, she says. The question, though, is, are we ready for her? Her work follows an ambitious, dynamic character study of a woman as towering, as passionate, as cerebral, as complicated as the masterwork with which she plans to mark the pinnacle of her career. With confidence both in its research and in its audience, Tar infiltrates the erudite inner workings of a world-class symphony orchestra, the genius at its helm, and the knotty relationships within, probing thorny questions of power and complicity from the highly subjective point of view of a woman who appreciates a romantic symphonic score with intimate intricacy, but understands itself with all the nuance of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or Tar. Tar is an operatic, emotional journey of transportive art, intellectual rigor, psychological mystery, and hilarious absurdity. I mean, can we talk about the Black Jack's performance of Apartment for Sale? Please join me in congratulating Todd Field, Alexander Milton, and Scott Leonard, the producers of LAFCA's Best Picture of 2022.
I'm sorry, you're getting a lot of me tonight, and I wish Lydia Tar herself could, come up here and entertain you with some quips and very deep knowledge. I want to say that on behalf of Scott and Alexandra and all our filmmakers, Nina, Kate, Focus, that we'd like to thank the Los Angeles Film Critics Association for seeing the film, for truly seeing this film. The recognition you've given us has surpassed anything in our wildest dreams, and it's an honor to share this tonight with everyone in everything, everywhere. The Daniels, Michał, Key, Jennifer. I think between our two films, we've shown that a multiverse, a hero, a villain, don't have to be from a Marvel movie. think there's hope and a desire and a future for original films. Having said that, they need a home. Now, this is a night of celebration and appreciation, and none of us really want to be preached to, especially when we're already the converted. So I'll try not to turn this speech into an ideological parking ticket. But what I hope this film can do, beyond its deeply entertaining Twitter feeds and theories, is to begin a conversation. A conversation I know that many of us in this room have already had and are having, and are completing each other's sentences about how important stories in the film community at large are to us. Our industry has been decimated in the pandemic. Nearly half of our specialty houses have closed over the pandemic. And those houses of worship are where most, if not all of us in this room, fell in love with movies in the first place. Collectively, we must do everything possible to get them back online. Yes, this is a call to arms. Time is of the essence. This opportunity to save our ship from the streaming shoals is fleeting. Wow, it's a real downer, right? I don't want to forget what we've all weathered and that we're together celebrating films face to face. That in itself is a miracle and something that 3 years ago seemed utterly impossible. An old friend wrote, "We tell ourselves stories in order to live." And she was right. Tonight is a celebration of that sentiment. We're here and very much alive. And for that, I'm very, very thankful. Thank you.
And that concludes our awards. Thank you to all the winners. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone.